Hey, Shalom Akim, Yahabashim, Yahushai, Brakta, Basham, Kakadash, double honors and salutations to elders and apostles, great mission, real well. Shalom to the Akim out there, and Havas and Babas in the work of Yabashim Mashai in all sincerity and diligence of mind. So, hey, I'm sure you've already seen this video about the marketing of the mark of the beast. Don't don't let that worry you too much, man. It's gotta be concerned, but don't let it be on your mind all the time, man. Like they won't have to focus on getting getting through your daily activities, man, because it's annoying, but at the same time, you gotta be spiritual, man. Because the Lord Yahweh shall provide a way out, right? The scriptures about that, man. Okay, so I get a few precepts, and I'll play the video. So I'm gonna start from let me start from the book of Second Timothy, chapter 2, verse 16. It says, "But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness." All right. So all this marketing, you know, strategies and ploys to get people to be comfortable with the mark of the beast, that's profane. So it's against the will of the Lord Yabashim Shai. It's an unclean product. It's a product of the enemy of the Lord Yabashim Shai. The Lord Yabashim Shai already talked about, people not making curtains in their flesh, for this unrighteous kingdom. You shouldn't do that, because it's against the will of the Lord Yabashim Shai. And all these false doctrines gotta go, man. That's why the Lord Yabashim Shai is going to speed up the demise of Babylon, the demise of the Edomite rulership, wherever it is upon the face of the earth, including that of the heathen, so that the Lord Yahushua could have his righteous dominion upon the face of the earth. Alright, so I read 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 16. "But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness." Alright, so you shouldn't be partaking in the false doctrine, man. You shouldn't be eating the, pursuing vain doctrines, man, because the elders talked about it a long time ago, man. Just stick with the words of the Lord. Just preach the gospel. Stop thinking about, how your life could be much more interesting and much more, easy, dealing with all this technology. That's not what the Lord Yahweh Shemashah wants you to be thinking about. He wants you to be focusing on His Word. That's how your life gets proven. That's how your life gets purified. That's how the Lord Yahweh Shemashah prepares you for the chaos that's coming upon the face of the earth. The pains that society is going to be going through. That's how the Lord prepares you for it, by allowing you to experience the pureness of His doctrine, by eating of the scroll, the bitter part of the scroll, the bitter part of the wisdom and understanding. So that way you are ready, your foundation is sure in the Lord Yabashim Shai, so you could build up your faith. Alright, that's what it boils down to. And then you look at Romans chapter 10, verse 16. Alright. So it says, "But they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah said, Lord, who have believed our report?" Alright. And then it says in verse 17, "So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Lord." Alright. So the word of the Lord is what we need to stick to. Not these vain babblings about the RFID chip, all these jingles and skits you see on TV, on the cable news, trying to sell you a false hope,
The latest office innovation is a microchip implanted in the skin.
This is the first American company to ever try this.
So what are they tracking, and would you say yes if your boss asked you to do the same?
So if my employer wanted to microchip me as if I was their puppy, I would have a huge problem with it, and I would probably quit.
You could argue that the government is tracking you everywhere you go, but they are already with your phones.
Yeah, it just seems a bit permanent. If you already have an Apple Watch that's you're wearing around, at least you can take that off at some point. Not something I would do.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it would make it all a lot easier. I just think that you have to back it up with maybe some doctors saying it's good for your health, and then I think I would do it.
3 square.
Not the elect, not the elect of the nation of Israel. All right. So that's one thing, man. You don't need a doctor's note to tell you that taking the RFID chip is a good thing, when the Lord Yahweh Shema has already warned you not to do it in the first place. You got to choose who you're going to follow, the will of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai or the will of man that's going to be destroyed. The wisdom of man is not worth it, man. That's why the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, is going to turn the wisdom of this world upside down, it's going to confound them. So all these technologies are not worth it. They can't stand, against what the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai has been doing and will do. So folks, don't get caught up in that stuff, man. Don't get caught up in a debate in a workplace about the RFID chip, man. You gotta know how to use some decency and some acts of wisdom, to just tiptoe out of it, man. Tell them, you got to make a quick phone call. They need a private moment, So just let them know where you stand, man. At the end of the day, man, that you're not really interested, that it's not for you here. And they tell you, why don't you want to take it? Like, well, not to tell them, that just tell them, you're not feeling it, man. That's some creepy stuff. And keep it going. Don't have to tell nobody about what you believe in according to the scriptures. When they want to force you to take the chip at work, just keep it moving, man. Go do something else. The Lord Yahweh Shema Shai will provide a way for you, all right?
Market is a company working on one of the biotech advances at the forefront, implantable RFID or radio frequency ID microchips. The tech has been around for decades, used to track pets, packages, and livestock, but now the Wisconsin-based company is trying to make the implants mainstream.
Wisconsin. Yeah, it's all about the con, man. It's just always about the con game. That's why folks like to call Esau the con man. Always strategize on how to con the poor out of out of the inheritance. That lets you know how bad Esau wants the kingdom. That's willing to create an object that's against the scriptures of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai. And the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai already spoke in the book of Revelation that, do what you need to do in the spirit of righteousness and truth, so that your crown will not be taken away from you. So all this that Esau is doing is just to take that birthright, man. That's the ultimate crown. But at the end of the day, the real spiritual crown is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures. You don't want your inheritance, which is this knowledge, to be dragged down into the mud, by these by the folks of this world that always pushing all this so-called biohacking technology. Even in my old hustle in DC, you see the black panel on the wall with the red buttons. We had stuff like that. Just get your badge, type it against it, or punch in your code. The door opens. So Esau's always thinking about ways to make people comfortable. Getting people adjusted. Always a gradual step. To get people acclimated. So that way they go along with the program. But the Lord doesn't want the elect to take it. The Lord doesn't expect the elect to turn against His will. So that's why the Lord fights for them day and night. All right.
Based company is trying to make the implants mainstream. Even with all the risks.
It's trying to make it mainstream, meaning trying to make it popular, the popular thing, just like those electric scooters you see on every block in downtown cities, wherever, in America, even in Europe. hey, that's what they want to do, man. They want control, 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 control. So with all these banks just shutting down their branches, shutting down the ATMs, it's hard for you to get cash. So just imagine when the economy tanks and they tell you they're no longer using cash. That way, in time of martial law, you gotta accept the RFID chip. Like if you don't, you'll be branded as an enemy combatant. You'll be branded as a so-called extremist. So you gotta decide on before then, man, before you get put in the hot seat. You're gonna serve the Lord Yahweh Shimei Shai, or you're gonna serve the flesh and reap the the consequences of destruction.
And unknowns associated with this technology, I was really curious what it'd be like to have an implant. So I traveled to Wisconsin to get chipped, thinking, what's the worst that could happen? The chip is coming out at the end of the day. And the RFID chip is
I'll see what brothers talk about, it's June, mocking Nick, mocking Nate. Like I see, it's June, microchip. Oh, well, hey, that's a microchip right there. So they can't really refute it, So the Lord about Shimon Shai's word is true. You can't take credit for the work of the Lord, man. You gotta be, take pride in doing the Lord's work, but you can't take the Lord's glory. All right, so you gotta give all glory to the Lord, Yahweh Shimon Shai, Bashim Kwakodash.
the inside there.
Yes.
And it's a little bit larger than a grain of rice.
Correct.
And you see it in the movie, Mile 22, and then Mission Impossible, Fallout. So it just lets you know, man. Esau's always trying to make this idea of the RFID chip popular, so he's gonna find a way to introduce it into his movies. So it's part of Esau's strategy to get the people ready, introduce them, and then before you know it, elementary schools and high schools and colleges will be, will be marketing this stuff to children, man. And then the parents will have to say, "Oh no, we can't do this." But when all hell breaks loose, it's going to be forced, towards onto people, and those that go along, hey, that's their ass. Especially of our own people, the so-called Negroes and Native Americans. So yeah, so Jake just gotta be careful, man. The so-called Latinos, so-called Negroes, and so-called Native Americans. You gotta be careful with Esau's marketing strategies, man.
Jasmine rice, I think.
Basmati.
That's Andy Whitehead, better known as Gonzo. He's a local body piercer with 17 years of experience who was brought in to implant the microchips. I was slightly nervous about having the microchip inserted inside my body, given the size of the needle, and also nervous about what it could potentially mean for me, but here we go.
I'll just take a nice big deep breath in and exhale, release. There we go.
It's in there.
It's in there. Pretty quick and easy.
I feel like a cyborg.
Here you go, you're a proud member now.
Indeed. Part of the club.
Here you go, you're a proud member now.
Indeed. Part of the club.
And that's exactly what Jake wants to be, man. This bugged out Jake to want to join Esau's bandwagon. So when Jake loses interest in serving the Lord Yahweh Shimei Shai, this is what the Lord Yahweh Shimei Shai gives him up to. So the Lord donates 2/3 into the hands of Esau, man. He could take that and do whatever he wants to do. But for the elect, that's a no-go zone for these Edomites, man. It's gonna be constant butting of heads, man. Spiritually. That's why they don't want to talk about the truth that much in the news. That the RFID chip is a mark of the beast, and according to the scriptures, according to the words of Yahweh Shimei Shai, Israelites should not take it. Even the heathen should not even take it, man. Whether they take it or not doesn't change anything, but I wouldn't recommend them going against the word of the Lord Yahweh Shimei Shai. All right. So I just say Kahala Yahweh Shimei Shai for putting out this knowledge.
Just like that, I was part of a small group of people on Earth pushing the boundaries of what it means to be human. And within minutes, I was meeting with their tech team to get my chip programmed. I guess what you're saying, to sort of put it in layman's terms, if I wouldn't need to take this out until we live in that futuristic world where everything's wireless, cash is gone, autonomous vehicles take us everywhere, and I'm just beeping my way through my day.
Really, probably you'd never have to take it out, and this is what we think is going to propel us into that next stage in life, the cashless society like they're doing overseas already. This would facilitate that because you wouldn't need to carry any cards or cash. Everything would literally be stored on the chip.
There is no GPS tracker in the chip, which was really good to know. And the applications for it were actually pretty sweet. I could now...
Doesn't change anything, man. GPS tracker or not, doesn't change anything. Folks still want to eat. Folks still want to work to pay their bills. So, hey, once you scan that chip, that information gets sent back to wherever server or processing site it is. And then folks know exactly where the people are, man. Those that have the chip will have to report for duty, and check in and check out, clock out for lunch and all that stuff, go to the store and buy stuff. Those that still want to seek government assistance, they have to give up their liberty, to go along with the mark of the beast. When the Lord Yabashimashai says we don't do it, we fight to the end. That's why the scripture talks about, striving for the truth unto death, and the Lord Yabashimashai shall fight for thee. That's exactly what we expect. So I get one last precept, just from the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 27. So Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 27. So it says, "For look for what things they grudged." These are our people when they were complaining, during the time of the exit from Egypt in the time of Exodus, when they were punished, that is, for them whom they taught to be gods, idolatry, worshiping an idea that's false. And that's what this RFID chip represents, man. A false idea, a false image of Esau's supremacy. And the Lord Yabashima Shai said that's against his first commandment. You should not have no other powers before him. All right, and then they're going to get punished, just like they got punished back then. Now being punished in them, when they saw it, they acknowledged him to be the true power. All right. So when they're catching hell, these last days after they receive the chip, when they see those nuclear missiles coming, and they also see the elect being beamed up, and they see their families being burnt up, being destroyed by wild beasts, then they understand that the Lord Yabashima Shai is judging them for their unfaithfulness, for their unrighteousness. All right. And it says that when they saw it, they acknowledged him to be the true power, whom before they denied to know. So those that deny the Lord Yabashima Shai and go ahead and take this RFID chip, they're going to bear the brunt of it. They're going to feel shame in these last days, man. All right. And therefore came extreme damnation upon them. And that's what the nuclear missiles represent. Extreme damnation. All right. So I say, Ka halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Rakwakadash. Double honors and salutations to elders and apostles, Will Mr. Ruwa and Akim, pushing the word of the Lord in sincerity and in truth. So just remember, man, it's going to be hard in these last days, but hey, just have faith, man. The Lord about Shema Shai will provide a way out for you out of these times of temptation. Shalom.